The limestone fossils of Dudley are testimony to a time long ago, 428 million years ago, when the whole of the Black Country was covered by a shallow tropical sea. We know this because the fossils contain seashells and corals and creatures like the Dudley bug trilobites. That didn't last forever, and eventually that sea silted up and became land. And that land saw the emergence of plants, and the largest of these were great trees that protected an underfloor covered in ferns, in which creatures like millipedes and scorpions scurried around. In the air were the sound of dragonflies, buzzing and filling the forest with life and activity and colour. But those forests dried up and died away. And about 250 million years ago, the dryness created deserts in this part of the land which lasted for millions of years. Only the toughest and hardest creatures could survive in those scorching desert winds. Creatures in particular like lizards that would go on to become the dinosaurs, the great giants of the Mesozoic era, which walked across this landscape, leaving very little behind in our area other than footprints in the hot sands and muds around those ancient landscapes. Even those ancient landscapes didn't last forever. Those forests eventually saw the emergence of flowering plants and then pine trees. But the climate grew cold in our last part of our story of the Black Country. 2.6 million years ago, this landscape suffered the instability of climate, and the ice sheets advanced from the north and covered the landscape with snow and ice. Here, the emergence of large creatures covered in fur, in particular woolly mammoths that would track along the edges of the white walls of the ice sheets onto the tundra to find sparse vegetation. And then between times, when the climate warmed again, areas like the Stour Valley would be lush, tropical areas in which hippopotamus and hyena would scurry about in the heat of the day. About 10,000 years ago, when the last ice sheet left us, the landscape was open for people to move in. And they did. The early peoples of the Black Country were nomadic. They would come during the warm summers and leave during the cold winters. They left their trackways that would become the foundations of access for all future generations of people who would occupy the Black Country. And then nearer our time, perhaps more familiar, is the time when the green landscape of the Black Country became the Black Country, a landscape black by day from the coal mining and industry, whose fiery furnaces would light the night skies with flame, turning it into a country that was black by day and glowed red by night. And our story doesn't end here. Millions of years ahead of us, who knows what the Black Country will be like next. That's a time for future generations to define, and the planet to give us a new era to inhabit.